So, what's the first thing you think of when you hear furry? Maybe it's something to do with the huge art scene. Writing, music, illustration, all of these are arguably the backbone of the furry community. And, of course, a booming tactile scene, with the fursuits that so many people immediately envision when they hear the word furry. Maybe some of the less lovely things, like how a lot of the general populace has been so misinformed on furries that they view the entire community through a not-so-charming lens. And how a lot of this is spurred on because majority of the furry community is queer. I don't want to think about homophobia with extra steps right now. Let's keep going. Did you think of body shaming, sexual harassment, AIDS, giving porn to children, secretly filming private sex encounters? Oh, you didn't? Well then you must not be Anthpo, creator of the Anthpo channel. Sorry to anyone who doesn't know the situation already, that has to be a jump scare after jump scare of a hook. To those who do know the situation already, sit down. I'm talking about it now and it'd be impolite to leave. I'm just kidding, that's not the actual reason you should stay. The actual reason is because I have some first-hand accounts from people involved with the situation that isn't public information. You don't want to miss out on some information, do you? Nah, you want to be in the loop. So strap in, get a snack, and get ready to hear about some debauchery. Before we get into the actual video though, I do have some content warnings. This video has very explicit discussion of several topics, including homophobia, homophobic stereotypes, body shaming, and alleged non-consensual recording. Even though it is alleged and not proved, the discussion and hypothetical of non-consensual recording is a very big part of this video. If these are topics that you cannot handle, absolutely no shame in not being able to finish this video. Additionally, all footage used in this video falls under fair use. It is all transformative. Alright, time for the video now. Let's start at the beginning. Who is Anthpo? Anthony, or Anthpo, was a decently successful YouTuber getting a start with things like harassing my high school with Perry the Platypus and harassing people with Fat Yoshi. Seeing a pattern here. I'll be honest, I didn't know who Anthpo was until his situation kind of blew up. For some reason, white man starts a K-pop group, white man coaches a Filipino basketball team, and white man joins an Asian beauty contest didn't really stumble upon my feed. I'm being mean for the sake of a joke, he actually posts a lot of other stuff. The only thing that we really need to know is that about a year ago, Anthony quit YouTube. Unfortunately, he couldn't have just ended his career on a high note because he returned this May with the video, I spent 200 days undercover as a furry. Despite not being in the furry community, I spend a lot of time in adjacent communities and follow a few furry creators myself, so the algorithm decided to throw this in my face. Right away alarm bells start to go off in my head. The use of the word undercover is weird. There is no undercover. The furry community is known for being one of the most exceptionally accepting communities out there. This isn't some flat earth convention. You don't need to prove that you have 10 years of kissing gay style or owning a hilarious amount of guns to join the furry community. Furries, from what I've seen, fucking love it when non-furries come in and have fun. For this section of the video, I literally found several non-furries going to furry cons to show that there is no CIA level undercover long con that needs to happen for you to go to a furry convention. Regardless, for that reason, I didn't bother clicking on the video. I didn't want to watch some schmuck probably make fun of furry, as I'm not 13 anymore. Instead of just ending there, I started finding some interesting posts online. Now, I love learning about weird online situations, so when people started talking about some creep sneaking into a furry convention to film an orgy and post it online, my interest was piqued. I didn't take note of Anthpo's name when I originally saw it pop up on my feed, so I didn't really recognize the name that people were saying recorded it, but I mean, I just knew it was the same guy. The timing was way too suspicious. So I wrangled my best friend in and I made her watch this nonsense with me, and holy shit, was it so much worse than we were anticipating. I'll go over it beat by beat in order as it's shown in the video. Speaking of the video, it's 14 minutes and 59 seconds long. We'll get to one cut that he made to the video, but it has gotten shortened twice. This time it was just to remove him plugging his cards. We'll get to that. No big deal, but I didn't want anyone who's familiar with the situation to be confused why the video was shortened again. He didn't cut anything else awful, or, well, at least uniquely awful. We'll get to the cards later, and why they're weird. We opened Anthpo explaining how he's always been fascinated with the concept of furry and how he wants to prove the mythical existence of gay furry Alrighty, what? Dude, it's not some cryptid that needs to be documented. That shit's very extensively documented online. Weird premise. Yucky idea. Quickly, let's take a small detour. Why did I specify gay? Am I just some guy who is obsessed with making everything gay? Fur Science, which, yes, is a real thing, has some pretty comprehensive information on furry sexuality. They say only around 1/5 of the furry fandom is straight, which is already a really small percentage, but that's from Fur Science's 2018 study. In the summer of 2020, the number of those self-identifying as heterosexual dropped from 20% to 10%, literally halving. This leaves the remaining 90% of those surveyed identifying as queer at the time. Hell, there were even 0.3 more people identifying as ace than straight. And aces are such a small percent in statistics measuring sexuality. For the general populace, those who self-identify as queer only make up 10% of the population. However, in the furry fandom, if we operate off of the 2020 survey, it's literally flipped. It's undeniable that the furry fandom is super gay. This shit's just a glorified pride parade, and I love it. With that being said, I want you to keep in mind throughout this entire video that 9 out of 10 furries are queer. Immediately, Anthony's approach is bugging me. I mean, wanting to prove a group of queer people are actually having sex is really weird, to say the least. We're gonna ignore him chatting shit on the quality of his $700 full body suit because, hey, this is probably just a me thing to be bugged over. I'm an artist, I'm probably more sensitive than your average person is to this kind of stuff. What we won't ignore, however, is the Sigma Paws TikTok account. Yeah, he named his persona Sigma Paws. It's gonna get mentioned in the video again, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to get used to it. The Sigma Paws TikTok account is actually still public, so instead of just looking at the select few clips Anthony put in his own video, we can comb over every single TikTok posted. Or at least I can. I'm not gonna make you sit here for all that. Anthony putting on this caricature of a furry and doing what my friend calls an autism voice. I have more money than you get a life! A voice meant to sound autistic, or his character, and generally trying to be as obnoxious as possible as a furry is already a weird thing for a grown-ass man living in 2024 to do, but if that's all this was, I wouldn't be making a video over it. Anthony is real big on body shaming. He has a huge focus on flexing, both financially and physically, but we're gonna focus on financially. Hi, editing oddity here again. I said the opposite thing I meant to. Fuck me, sorry about that. We're gonna be focusing on him physically flexing, not financially. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I mean, if you have muscles, have fun. But that paired with Anthony both in the video and on his TikTok account body shaming feels really gross. He has one particular video where he speculates on Queso, a popular streamer, and if he's morbidly obese.
I do think Queso is considered morbidly obese.
Honestly, with how weird people are about fat people, I don't have the energy to explain why making fun of people, even if they're fat, is not okay. Maybe I'll put it on my Ko-Fi for a couple bucks, wink wink nudge nudge, but for now, let's get to the furry convention. Anthpo is going to Anthro, New England, a, from my understanding, decently popular furry convention. Being such, they have their policies ironed out and listed on their site. Remember this, it will come back later. Skipping over the less relevant points like Anthony's little posse and how he corrected himself from talking about people to furries, which isn't a great look considering some of the later things to happen in this video, we get to Anthony running the Furry of the Week section at Furry Weekly? Okay, let's take a step back. What? Furry Weekly is an online magazine that talks about a wide range of subjects regarding furries. They do art tips, interviews, and of course, Furry of the Week. The Furry of the Week segment highlights notable individuals in the furry community who are typically doing something generous and kind-hearted. Some of the previous topics include someone recreating a free fursuit for someone who had just lost theirs in a recent house fire, fundraising thousands of dollars for sick children, and a fursuiter helping cheer up a refugee family. Furry Weekly is run by volunteers too, which is probably why Anthony targeted them for this ploy. According to Furry Weekly's president Yeshua, who I got a chance to speak with, Sigma Paws had messaged the team about joining the magazine, and Furry Weekly put the Furry of the Week writing role on the table. Sigma said he was going to interview some people at a convention he was going to, so Yeshua decided to add him to the teams and see how he was at hosting. It was after this that Anthony proceeded to ghost the team for 4 months. It wasn't until after Anthony's video that he reached back out to Furry Weekly to apologize for things not working out, which is a weird way to put purposely misleading you for profit, but whatever. Anthony asked where he could donate to Furry Weekly to try and make it up to them, and after Yeshua responded, he ghosted them again, and he hasn't responded to them since. Even after messaging Furry Weekly again, Anthony didn't bother telling them that he wasn't a furry and that he was actually a YouTuber with millions of subscribers infiltrating the furry community to make a video to make fun of them. Furry Weekly had to find this out on their own after people were messaging them with concerns regarding Anthony's video. Yeshua has been so nice in helping with this segment of the video, and it's really shitty to see him being used by this guy. Furry Weekly do raffles, donations, and they are generally really uplifting in the furry community. And now that name is going to be associated with the guy who recorded a furry. We'll get to that later. And it's really disheartening. Ugh, that put a bad taste in my mouth, so let's just move on. Oh, Anthony's going to the dealer's den now. I bet this'll be fun and won't have any homophobic rhetoric in it. Foreshadowing is a narrative device in which Anthony says he's going to the den to try and find anyone who looks like they'd go to a furry party. Anthony, I'd really like it if you were to elaborate on what that means. Who looks like that? What aspects of a person's physical appearance makes you think they're going to, at least what you're portraying as, a weird furry party? No, I'd really like to hear you elaborate, I'm curious. Instead of elaborating, we get a fascinating concern Anthony is raising.
The weird part about this is that this is completely in the center of the expo hall. Like, you could just wander in here if you're like an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old.
He's worried about these deviant furries showing porn to kids. I mean, they didn't even ID him, and all of this was in the middle of the expo hall where any 8-year-old child could stumble in and pick up a copy of 609. And you know what? Showing porn to kids is very bad. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, you know? Anthony has a good concern if it's true. It is true, right? Remember how I said A&E is a decently popular con that, because of their popularity, has of course had to iron out all of their policies on their website? Yeah, that comes back now. A&E has their policies wonderfully clear on their site. It made my life a lot easier when reading, say, the 18 plus venue section. If located within the 18 plus only zone, or will be vending at the 18 plus night market, you must only follow the customer age verification and mature bagging rules. It also states that supplemental ID, i.e. your actual ID, only needs to be asked for if the age of the buyer is doubted, which, Anthony, you don't pass as someone under the age of 18, your ass is not getting carded. Anthony doesn't show his badge being checked, but you'd think if they went through the entire purchasing process without asking to see his badge, Anthony would show that. He would show them purposefully not asking for his badge, because that would actually be an issue and violating the con's policies. Am I saying Anthpo is purposely telling a fib about not being asked for his badge? No, I literally have no proof. I could not tell if that was true or not. But what I am saying is Anthony is lying about the entire fucking Expo Hall segment outside of that. I emailed A&E, their contact info is very clear on their website, and they responded very quickly. Here's a little transcript of my interaction with A&E. I'm currently researching a situation that recently happened to A&E. On YouTube, a video is posted that portrays your con in a very poor light. In the video, the creator alleges that your 18 plus vendors were a threat to minors, as they did not properly ID customers, nor did they have their wares properly displayed. I was hoping someone on your team could clarify if the vendor areas shown in these clips are of your common areas, or if it was your 18 plus only areas stated to only need mature bagging and age verification via badges. Thank you in advance. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. The statements you pointed out in the video are false. Our 18 plus vendor area is fully separated by an opaque curtain wall and cannot be seen from the all ages area of the vendor hall. No one is allowed entry without first showing an ID which our trained safety team can verify. All footage shown of the tables with adult material in this video were located in the ID checked area of the vendor's hall. Minors are not allowed. Do not hesitate to reach out with further questions. Huh. Wow. Straight from the horse's mouth, pun intended. Anthpo is at worst purposely lying, or at best, not competent enough to be slinging such serious accusations. Speaking of serious accusations, let's stop for a little history lesson, shall we? In 1977, anti-gay activist Anita Bryant was rather upset with an anti-gay discrimination ordinance at the time. Campaigning against it, she made an organization to further her message and named it Save Our Children. Bryant warned that a particularly deviant-minded gay teacher could sexually molest children. Her campaign was successful, leading with the ordinance to be repealed with the margin of 69 to 31. Save Our Children's campaign also led to a ban on gay adoption that wasn't overturned until 2018, 30 years later. Sure, Bryant may have gotten a pie in her face by a detractor, which is cool and based or whatever, but her message still rung clear, and many people agreed with her. The homosexual is a deviant looking to harm our children. Given this little bit of gay history, Anthony implying a group of mostly queer adults might just be giving out to alleged 8-year-olds is really fucking uncomfortable to hear. On a somewhat lighter note, at least, Anthony is just flabbergasted that there's gay porn in his gay porn comic.
Oh, it's a femboy!
Like, Cloud Found in Sky, my guy.
It was a guy!
Do you get shocked when you see a fork in the kitchen too?
It was a guy!
He is absolutely shocked at the premise that a story called Best Man Wins has some gay shit going on in it. Anyways, back on topic, wanna know what is putting sexual content in the middle of a con that minors could see? Anthony putting a bunch of cards all over the con. Anthony, bud, I thought you were concerned about the apparent 8-year-olds walking around the con seeing something obscene. What if these 8-year-olds see one of the approximately 100 cards you set out and start asking their mom, what's an orgy? What about that? Anthony made 500 total cards and planted around 100 at the con. At least that's what he approximated. He then sold around 100 of these cards to his fans for $10 a card. We will circle back to this. What's with the 300 card discrepancy, by the way? Fuck if I know. Maybe he gave the rest out to another con he was terrorizing. Maybe he ate them like some sort of paper-eating beast. Who's to really say? Yeah, whatever. We have more important things to see. Like Anthony actually getting into a furry Yippee! Sorry to the dance contest Anthpo went to. You can be talked about in the premium version of this video. I'm too damned excited to talk about this gay Don't clip that. Oh my, holy shit, don't clip that. Anthony gets added to a Telegram chat and is shocked when there's nudes in the chat made to plan an orgy. What? Who could have guessed? Oh my goodness, I'm clutching my pearls right now. What if the many 8-year-olds running around at the con sees one of these nudes? No, but there actually is a weird clip Anthony included.
If everyone's alright with it, I wouldn't mind recording a few parts too.
It isn't important yet, but it will be. Hold on to it. After freaking out about being talked about in a chat, Anthony calls his mom to tell him what he's planning. Thankfully, she told him how weird that is. She told him it's a huge violation of privacy to try and purposely record a group of individuals to have sex posts on YouTube without completely disclosing what the context of the recording will entail, and that she's incredibly disappointed in him. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's not actually what she said. She asked him if he could get a special video for her.
I got invited to one.
Oh my god, Anthony. Oh, I want to see the video.
Huh? Anthony decided to leave in his friend making a joke about Anthony getting AIDS.
You're gonna get HIV at a furry
you know, the disease that massacred the gay populace in the 80s and early 90s. From a group of gay people. He also left in his cameraman making a joke about said gay people molesting him.
He's getting molested.
A very long-lived stereotype of gay men that follows us to this day. Cool. In the video on Anthony's channel, it just cuts past the scene, completely skipping it, which, yeah, it makes sense, even though the entire video premise is fucking slimy. No one's actually going to record and show what happened. No one would do something so cruel and possibly illegal. No one would... No, you can tell I'm joking. Yeah, he recorded and posted it. Where is it, you might ask? Well, it was in this video. He edited out the section after a week of it being up. That amount of time for a channel with 1.7 million subscribers, plus all the hype he drummed up with this being his video returning to YouTube, resulted in hundreds of thousands of people seeing the video in the first few days. That's hundreds of thousands of people seeing an that Anthony filmed. A censored one, albeit, but one that he's still recorded and posted online. The original had been saved and archived. I don't think I can show more than a couple frames of this. I'll get into why later, but I have seen what Anthony originally posted, and I do want to go over it, along with the statement he posted exclusively on Twitter. I have to say though, I'm not a lawyer. This isn't defamation. This is just me reacting to what was posted and reading some interesting state laws. These are all just some interesting statements that my autistic little brain felt like thinking about more than your average person. That's it. Ooh, you don't want to sue me so bad. Ooh, you want to leave me alone so bad, Anthony. Okay, let's get into it. In the original video, he filmed 2 explicit meetups. Starting with the first meetup, he recreated everything with these little Animal Crossing animations. Now, he doesn't credit the animator, so I can't reach out and ask if they were provided with footage along with the audio, but they were certainly provided audio. Anthpo says in his statement that it was all remade audio, though. It seems to me, though, that he just edited the original audio of the meetup, because Anthony's voice is still muffled through the fursuit head, and everyone he's interacting with sounds like they were put through a simple voice editor. It is totally possible he recreated it all. I have no proof otherwise, and I'm not saying I do. What he didn't say he recreated was some pixelated footage of what he said was a big schlong. Cool, man. Anthony only had to say his persona's name and he was let in. In the nudist party, nothing relevant happens. The only thing of note is that he gets told an actual orgy was happening at another room party nearby. Anthony immediately leaves to go here instead, to find a real, bona fide furry party. When we get there, instead of an animation, we get the actual footage. It's blurred, yes, but it's still the footage. Throughout the clip, he keeps making weird comments about the people's bodies. At one point, it seems he forgot to censor another individual who was engaging in some sexual activities there. I'm not going to be showing that, not for lack of it being there. I don't like sharing these details. It feels really scummy, but I feel like they're needed for analyzing both the morality and potential legality of this. Even though I'm not a lawyer, don't sue me. It's not made clear in this video if Anthpo was allowed to record. He says in his statement he was, but a lot of people are bringing up how someone in the Telegram chat before asked if they could record, so that means Anthony is allowed to. Hey, I told you that'd come back up. But that's not how that works. Just because someone else asked if they could record doesn't mean Anthony automatically gets permission to record. He would need to ask himself. And if he did get permission himself, you would think he would show that in the video? Maybe this is just me, but why would you leave it up in the air if you committed a felony or not if you had the proof that you didn't? Massachusetts, which is where this happened, has a 2-party consent law. All parties involved must be aware and consenting to recording of both visuals and audio. If he did get consent from everyone involved, it's weird that he left it ambiguous until his subcount was on the line for it. He's saying he did get the go-ahead to record some sexy stuff. Did that go-ahead include the context that he was a non-furry doing this to post in front of over 1 million people to make fun of them? Massachusetts also has a bill against any sort of non-consensual sharing of explicit images or explicit video. Again, Anthony said that at the nudist meetup, all he said was his name was Sigma. That doesn't sound like getting consent from the entire group to record audio for a popular YouTube video making fun of them. But hey, maybe he did get consent and he just, like, forgot to put it in the video in the notes app. That's very much possible. The lack of clarification in the video was really unsettling. The idea that I saw, let alone hundreds of thousands of others have seen footage that we weren't meant to see of a person in a vulnerable moment to laugh at is fucking heartbreaking. Anthony says he committed no crime though, that he got checks from lawyers and everything was given the go-ahead. Sure, good. Anthony is legally in the clear, right? Just because he's legally fine doesn't mean morally this video isn't laced with homophobic and fatphobic rhetoric and general scummy content. Him and his friends laughing about HIV and gay men raping Anthony as if these stereotypes aren't still following our community prominently to this day. Framing safe, sane, consensual sex between adults is something to gawk at. Like this is some sort of deviancy that, by being deviant, loses the respect and autonomy that I know Anthony would afford if this was a straight and monogamous activity. Anthony, in his apology, also turns the video into a fundraiser for the Trevor Project, which makes sense given the statistic that I gave earlier about gay furries, but is weird for Anthony to do, considering his closing statement is, furries are cringe and weird because they're autistic.
It's just something that most of them enjoy, and a good chunk of furries also have some sort of neurodivergence.
I'm kind of on the spectrum, have what they call Asperger's.
Oh, I get it. Furries are just wrong in the head, so that's why they're fucking weird. Okay, I see, Anthony. Thank you. This fundraiser has $1,000 to it currently. Can't check who donated, but giving the benefit of the doubt, maybe Anthony donated all that money that he got from his cards. Told you those come back into play. The total he got would have been around $1,000, especially considering he sold out to the point where the listing isn't even available anymore. If he did donate all that to the Trevor Project, that's something? In a vacuum, that's a great thing to do, but in the context that he's trying to make up for doing so much harm to a community, not as great. He still made presumably thousands off of AdSense for this video, and his other recent 2 videos. If Anthony was serious about trying to undo some of the damage he's caused, hopefully every month we'll see that amount trickle up with however much AdSense gives him for the video, or an equivalent from his other successful videos since the furry one got age restricted. I think he should also genuinely apologize to Furry Weekly, you know, not posing as Sigma Paws, and genuinely apologize to the people he recorded. Again, also not posing as Sigma Paws, I don't think that needs to be said, but clearly it does. There are a lot of people who are disgusted with this awful behavior. Twitter, Tumblr, even his comments, people are calling him out for it. However, it's completely eclipsed by the praise and support for this video and its contents. I think the best way to end off this video is with a parallel I found in recent news. A self-proclaimed gay furry hacktivist group recently hacked the Heritage Foundation, the group behind Project 2025. Mike Howell, an executive of the foundation, got in contact with one of the hackers, and this exchange happened. Keep in mind, this is all because the group SeigedSec leaked who was involving themselves with Project 2025. Okay, listen to me closely. We are in the process of identifying and outing members of your group. Reputation and lives will be destroyed. Closeted furries will be presented to the world for the degenerate perverts they are. You cannot hide. Your means are minuscule compared to mine. You can either turn yourself in, or you can cooperate. None of our members will be identified or outed by your organization built on hatred. You want me to cooperate? With what? Spreading misinformation and hatred? Your own people turned against nature. We will only accelerate the cycle. Nature has no defined set of rules, no authority, just like it should. Humans can do what they want, and yet you choose to support an organization to harm innocent people? Why? How can you justify this to yourself knowing you're threatening the rights and lives to other human lives? The people you hate could be anyone. Your friend, your mom, your sibling. God created nature, and nature's laws are vicious. It is why you have to put on a perverted animal costume to satisfy your sexual deviances. It is why you were forced to hide like coward. You violated our rights and broke the law. You have no standing to discuss such matters. I would like to be left alone without my rights being threatened. Are you aware that you won't be able to wear a furry tiger costume when you're getting pounded in the federal prison I put you in next year? Such unprofessional language from an executive director. Would you mind if I shared this? Please share widely. I hope the word spreads as fast as the STDs do in your degenerate furry community. Meow. Bestiality is a weird sin. It shows you've gone a few clicks too far into trying to satisfy your deviant appetite. While, yes, Anthony Potero is not currently trying to turn America into a fascist dictatorship, the parallels to Howell's conversation and Anthony and Co's video is deeply disturbing. From gawking at furry sex, joking about STDs, and stereotyping furries as deviants. And while I have no clip to accompany it, as I don't feel comfortable showing it, the entire recorded room party segment that was cut out reminded me of one of Howell's statements. We are in the process of outing members of your group. Reputation and lives will be destroyed. Closeted furries will be presented to the world for the degenerate perverts they are. You cannot hide. Your means are minuscule compared to mine. Hey, Oddity here. Sorry for such a bummer of an ending, to put it simply. I thought that it would be the most efficient way of getting my point across. Tell me in the comments if I'm correct. I tried to record this like 4 or 5 times now, this little ending bit. It's completely unscripted, which is probably a sign that I should script it, but I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to. If you want a candid, simple opinion on, what I think Anthpo did and like my feelings on it, let me give it to you here. I do not think he meant to set out and perpetuate harmful homophobic stereotypes. I think he meant to perpetuate awful furry stereotypes. I cannot see how a person could not intend to do that with his video. But I don't think the homophobia and bigotry was purposeful. That doesn't matter though, because he did that. He is responsible for that. He is the one who put it in the final cut. He didn't stop to think, hey, maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I shouldn't leave in my friend saying I'm gonna get AIDS, and leaving in my cameraman saying I'm gonna get molested by these gay people. He's still the one who left that in, and he just posting a little Notes app apology on Twitter is not at all adequate. I think what Anthony did was fucking disgusting. I think he needs to permanently private the video, make a better statement, apologize to the people involved. I don't have any information on the people who were recorded, if they were spoken to. So he may have apologized to them, but I know for a fact he didn't apologize to Yeshua, which makes me believe that since he didn't apologize to Furry Weekly, the group that he was misleading and tricking, that he probably didn't apologize to anyone else either. His apology was very, I'm so embarrassed that I did this, I'm so disappointed in myself, and not, hey, sorry to these people, and these people. Sorry to the people I hurt. Sorry for what I have done. Is not really a good apology. Don't necessarily get used to videos like this again. I know I used to be like a fucking drama YouTuber when I was 14. I don't plan on returning to that. This situation really irked me enough to make an entire, like, 26-minute video on it. Yeah, but I do have, like, a video on an ARG planned, more Pokemon art videos planned, an entire deep dive into a deleted virtual world. I have a lot of other content planned that is not remotely like this, but, you know, I'll also talk about things that I find important, and I find this important because nowhere near enough people were pointing out how fucking weird this is. Yeah, also don't, I guess, closing statement, don't film people having sex, unless you tell them why you're filming, and they are like, yeah, sure, chill, and everyone involved says that. And also, don't trick people so that you can record people for your furry hatred YouTube video. It makes you a bit of a piece of shit. Yep, okay, bye.